As you know, it is the anniversary of the Queen's reign. She's a revered person because for most of us, she's the only monarch that we have known throughout all of our lives. I think most Australians will have a slightly different view towards whether we remain a constitutional monarchy, whether we become a republic or not, when it becomes Lefty, Charles and also work further from there. Here was the Prime Minister paying tribute to Her Majesty in Parliament yesterday.
Your Majesty, we, the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives, express to Your Majesty our warm congratulations at this time of celebration of the Platinum Jubilee of your accession to the throne. We express our respect and regard for the dedication you have displayed in the service of the Commonwealth and your deep and abiding commitment to Australia and its people.
But it wasn't universal praise for Her Majesty. One of the Greens' leading lights of hate decided to make her feelings very clear when standing up in the Senate.
British monarchy is a racist colonial institution. It is a relic of the British Empire and it shouldn't exist. But sadly, here we are in this chamber discussing a motion to congratulate, yes, yet another monarch on whatever anniversary it is now. As a painful reminder to people of colour like myself, who migrated here from a place colonised, ravaged and looted by this very British Empire.
Yet you sit in a parliament that is modelled on the one in the UK. You are paid by the taxpayers of the very country of which you have rubbished. But she, of course, has a right to free speech, and that's fine. Now, can I be very clear? Do not send her your feedback. Previously, somebody, after seeing a mere comment about this senator, decided to write some sort of an angry complaint to the senator. The senator then used that as evidence about the hate speech of this network. So if you want to have your say against the Greens, particularly the New South Wales candidates, vote against them at the upcoming election. And why do I mention this at the start of the show? Not to distract, but to remind you that the Greens, including that lady, think that they are about to become the real power brokers of Australian politics. Never forget, this is Adam Bandt licking his lips.
But the only way we're going to get action on coal and gas in this country is putting the Greens in balance of power. The Greens party room is meeting face-to-face for the first time this year, and we've confirmed the approach that we will take. The Greens will kick the Liberals out, get into balance of power and push the next government to take action on coal and gas, starting with a freeze on all new coal and gas projects.
Easy to say when you live in the middle of Melbourne, where all of your senators live, of course, in the middle, most of them at least, in the middle of Sydney, Melbourne or Brisbane. The reality is that Australia needs mining. I'll get to why a little later in the show. But important to note that there are consequences of if the Greens end up as the backseat drivers of Each Way Albo's prime ministership. Suggestions are thousands of jobs would go. And this is on top of bad economic management. The economy is all that matters at the next election. The rest is white noise. Because the government has actually put together a list of all of the bad ideas that thankfully they didn't do that Labor suggested for the past 2 years. It would have added $81 billion to how much money we had already spent.
The Labor Party's called for more. They've argued for more. They've come up with their own other silly ideas, such as the $300 additional payment for people getting vaccinated, which has been proven to have been completely wasteful thought bubble that even they've run away from. If you look at just half a dozen of Labor's different thought bubbles and policy ideas during the pandemic, it's evident they would have added a further $81 billion to government debt and government spending during the COVID-19 pandemic.
So it's your choice, Australia. If you vote for a fake independent, you get Labor. If you vote for the Greens, you get Labor. But if you vote for Labor, you get the Greens. The Greens that say that about the monarchy have said as much as they have about Australia Day, about Australia itself, while, of course, sitting in a parliament that is only possible because of the modernisation of Australia, while taking hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of wages that come from you. This matters. The fork in the road has never been more important. Your power as a voter in the suburbs, country towns or far-flung parts of the country matters more than ever before.